Huh? Hello. Hello. Hey, everyone. I'm live. Yep. All right. Hey, guys. Anybody? Figure I'd go live tonight if there's stuff people want to talk about. Um, but I am going to be talking about, um, going to uh, going to Long Island next week, and I'm going to be shooting some stuff for Wellsville Nights, the crowdfunding. I'm going to be talking about launching that crowdfunding. Anybody who wants to know, anybody who wants to listen, anyone who wants to talk about Wellsville Nights and what it's about, I will gladly talk about that. Um, I guess I'll talk about some of the updates happening with the new movie that we shot this past summer. The, you know, really don't know what the hell's going on with it. Unfortunately, um, and then of course, anything else you guys want to talk about. Um, I do have in the Saturday morning sleepovers, the two new editions that we got in that I curate, Volume 6 and the 1984. Um, Combined 16 hours of 80s pleasure. Saturday morning sleepover. If people are new to the channel, they haven't quite gotten through the 300 plus videos on the channel yet, or heard me talk about Saturday morning sleepover. Um, it's something that I have been doing now for 7 years. I curate 8 to 10 hours of nothing but 80s and early 90s television shows, cartoons, commercials, music videos, and then oddities, weird shit. And the majority of it is stuff that I grew up watching. Um, and I edit it all together in one big marathon, and then I invite a whole bunch of people over who are like-minded and want to you know, revisit their childhoods from the 80s. Um, we put on pajamas and we eat junk food all day, and we watch this marathon. And I call it Saturday morning sleepover. And we've been doing it for 7 years, and it's always a blast. And this last one we did um, was awesome, and we got to sort of bring in another new person who wanted to experience it, and that person did, and he seemed to really enjoy it. But throughout the years, people who know about the Saturday morning sleepover want to experience it, and they can't be a part of it. So this is a way um, that I offer people to be a part of it, and it's just collections of all that stuff. So if you want some Saturday morning sleepover goodness, this is volume 6 and 7. Um, just get a hold of me, and I'll tell you how you can get these. But we've got about 10 sets left, 10 of each left of those. Yeah. Oh, I had that is here. Hello. Thanks for popping in. Yes, you do. You do have them, and you seem to enjoy them. and I enjoy that you enjoy them. um, these cats are going crazy. Got a house full of cats. But yeah. Oh, I had that. How you doing? I bet the weather's fine where you are. Not over here. That's right. Listen to Crom. Crom knows best. Crom you can trust. 63. Man, that's great. Yeah, not here. We're getting hit with that winter storm. East Coast bullshit. Well, I mean, where I live, it's forget about it. You know, winter is 6 months out of the year. It's although with this global warming, it's been winter has been kind of wonky. So it's actually been ending sooner, which is nice as far as I'm concerned. I prefer winter and snow in the month of December, and that's about it. And then it can go to hell. Well, I don't believe in hell, but it can go away. It can go straight to nothingness because I hate it. Um, but where we are, I mean, forget about it. You're lucky if you have a white Christmas anymore. We used to. It's few and far between now, and that's when I really want it. Is during Christmas time. Bring on that snow. I want to see that. It helps with the atmosphere. It helps with the Christmas joy. But upstate New York is. Whew. What was my typical night? What was my typical Friday in Wellsville growing up? Um, you know, you go to school, you hang out with your friends, you cause mischief in school, and couldn't wait to get out of school. Always had something planned. If it wasn't a movie, going to see a movie, then it was renting movies. Always hanging out with friends, um, or going over to my cousins. I had a couple sets of cousins that I would always go to, or they would come to me for the weekends. And that was always awesome. And then the neighborhood kids, my direct neighbors, we would always hang out and play, rent movies, always slumber parties, always, you know, junk food, pizza. Friday nights were pizza night for sure. But if it was, yeah, if it wasn't, we're going to the movies, then we were renting movies. And if it wasn't that, then we were causing mischief out in the neighborhood, going on adventures. Dynamite Tiger, he's on the prowl. Um, but yeah, I mean that was pretty much the weekend. Like that wasn't like a specific thing to do just on Friday, but it would be Friday and Saturday. Sunday was always, Sunday we tried to rock and roll as much as we could before we knew that it was time to get ready for Monday, and most instances, sometimes Sunday sucks more than Monday because it's that inevitability that you have to get ready for school for Monday. Um, so you do what you can on Sunday as much as you can, you know. But for me, yeah, it was always movies, something, or being an idiot outside with the homies, with the friends, with the neighbors, with the cousins. Lots of recreating movie scenes. And then when I had the video camera in '84, that definitely, it was shooting stuff every weekend, just shooting dumb little movies with everybody. Um, you know, yeah, movies and hijinks related. Toys, certainly early on there were toys involved, recreating scenes with toys and stuff like that. We would do it outside. Um, so yeah, uh, Tiger. We would build forts in the woods for sure. Um, there was a couple bits of wooded areas in and around uh, our neighborhood that already had like some sort of debris in there, wood piles and bricks and all sorts of just stuff that would be in patches of the woods, and then we would just create our own, fortresses. Oh, I had that. No, that's fine. You know, you want to talk about that stuff? Let's go. You got some questions about that type of stuff? I'm all for it. You know, that's what these live shows are all about. Whatever, ask anything. Ask away. I'm an open book, so I don't, I don't get embarrassed. I tell it like it is. I'm truthful. I love talking all manner of life and entertainment and mischief and mayhem and tomfoolery and sexual curricular activities. We lived right next to the Erie Canal. Yeah. Um, so running through Wellsville is the Genesee River, and Wellsville did this thing every year called the Inner Tube Regatta. It was very big in the '80s. Also, something that they do still to this day is the Great Wellsville Balloon Rally, um, which I grew up doing as well. Um, but the Inner Tube Regatta was, you know, the whole town would be like a big ass like fair. Everyone, the Genesee River would run through. We've got two big parks in Wellsville. And so the townsfolk would get together and they'd build their own like elaborate, um, boats or inner tubes or whatever it was to compete, and they'd go down the Genesee River. Um, and it was and there'd be like vendors, and we'd have like food trucks and barbecuing and stuff like that, and there'd be like live bands that would play in the park pavilions and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not sure when they stopped doing the Inner Tube Regatta, but the Great Wellsville Balloon Rally is still going to this day. I haven't been to the balloon rally in years, but it was a big deal. I guess it still is. I guess it still is. Oh, I had that. Anyone else find left behind adult content in the woods? I feel like every group of kids did somehow, and who was leaving all this content behind? Oh yeah, I mean, and we'd find we this one time we found like a bunch of you know smut magazines, Playboys and penthouses and all that stuff. But there was also, I remember we found like this big machete in with this pile of stuff, and it was all rusty and everything. But it's like, what is going on out here? For sure. My kids still love and watch when River did that He-Man video. Ah, thanks, Dynamite. Yeah, I've been able to get River in a few things throughout the years. Early on, he was much more into sort of jumping in and being a jamoke for a lot of videos. I have these short films that we did called the break called Wiener Macaduviac that he's the star of. Um, he's in my movie Geek War. Just a couple little bits where he's like making a little cameo. It was probably like three or four. Um, and he's in the Weirdsies, of course, as the little gnome creature that the gnome boy that dances in the woods. I did just get him in this last movie. He's a skateboarder, uh, but it's like pulling teeth now. I mean, he's 17, so it's few and far between that I could get him in my stuff. Yeah, I loved him in Weirdsies. Hey, Chris, I have to go. Watching a movie with my son. Just wanted to stop in and say hi. Well, thanks for popping in, Dynamite Tiger. I'm glad you did. You know, I appreciate the pop in. I don't know how many more people will pop in. I just, these impromptu lives can be iffy. Sometimes nobody shows up. Sometimes two people show up, like you guys. Um, but as long as people are asking questions and you want to keep yapping, I'll yap. I don't mind. I set aside a couple hours for the night, so we'll see how it goes. Bye, Dynamite Tiger. Hello, Roger. Yes, my son is 17. He's about to turn 17, and I'm 47 this year. Zach. Hello, Zach. How are you, Zach Oliveris, who is also a newly minted father. Andrew. Good. Hey, Chris just got done practicing the lion face technique. Good, good. That is a reference to Saturday morning sleepovers, which I have talked about several times, and I did talk about in the opening of this live stream. We got the two new versions, the two new volumes, 6 and 7, which is the 40th anniversary of 1984 of all the stuff in 1984 that came out new, fresh. Anyway, got those going on for folks. But yes, the lion bit is something that we've popped in Saturday morning sleepovers here and there, which was a real video helping to keep wrinkles at bay, but very funny. Yeah. Actually, my buddy Carrie, her mom, actually had that video. And so Carrie knew it. As soon as like I put it, as soon as she saw it, she started laughing pretty hard. She was like, "My mom had this video and would watch these techniques all the time." It's pretty funny. Oh, I had that. Oliveris, I smell a behind the scenes of Wellsville Nights as directed by Oliveris needing to come to us. Well, Oliveris, he's he shot the pilot to Wellsville Nights, but he's also shooting the rest of the episodes of Wellsville Nights. So he won't be doing the behind the scenes, but somebody will. There will be extras on the Blu-ray when we do put that out, which he did shoot some of them. Ah, Freddie Mercury is here. Hey-oh, hey-oh, hey-do-do-do-do-do, hey-oh. Hello, Freddie. I love your music. You're one of the greatest vocalists of all time. So, yeah, we got some people. Like I said, we'll talk anything. I already started talking about the Saturday morning sleepover, the discs that we still got about 10 each left. Saturday morning sleepover volumes 6 and 7. I'm going to talk about Wellsville Nights. I'm going to talk about the new movie we shot. I'm going to talk about aliens. I'm going to talk about toys, 80s, boobs, whatever you guys want to talk about. Movies, trailers, Deadpool and Wolverine, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Godzilla and Kong, rock and roll. Hello from Greece, the number one location that my wife wants to go to. Greece. She wants to go there so bad. Wants to visit. Wants to soak up the atmosphere and the sun and the food and witness the Barackle womb of the past. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's feeling the heat, feeling that sweat. You guys pumped? You guys pumped for Deadpool to be in the MCU? I am. I'm excited to see what chicanery he gets up to in the MCU. It's about time. That's right. Deadpool, Deadpool. That's right. But I'm just glad that he's back proper. Now if only we could kill those Sony executives and get all of Spider-Man back to where to Marvel where it needs to be. I mean, let's be real. Everyone knows this that those, Homecoming, Far From Home and No Way Home are MCU. Kevin Feige, very little fucking Sony had anything to do with making those movies good. Sony has a real hard time with making a lot good. Certainly none of their Spider-Verse other than the animated movies, which again got some real solid human beings behind those films, but then everything else is just fucking garbage. And the fact that they just keep making these stupid side movies that are total pieces of shit. I just want it all back to Marvel. I'm glad that everything in the Fox world is under Marvel now since Marvel bought Fox. So many were able to just be under the umbrella now, go back to where they all deserve to be. Um, So I'm happy. So I'm it's going to be exciting to see Deadpool in the MCU and to sort of go through and fix all the hiccups that have been happening recently in the recent phases. That should be fun, and we can finally get some proper X-Men in there. Oh, I had that. Well, yeah, most of you young folk think this first Spider-Man movie's good. Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character, hands down. It just is. He always has been since I was since I was 3 years old. Spider-Man is it. But I was disappointed walking out of that Spider-Man movie. Um, I never really 100% have been okay with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Hate uh, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Never like that. I love Sam Raimi, and I love his affinity for Spider-Man, and he did some things right, but yeah, you know, but people love him. That's great. They're fine. Zach, no Madam Web for me. Fuck no. Fuck no. No. You were just thinking of Saturday morning sleepover today, volume 6 and 7. My goodness. Best thing about that first movie was Willem Dafoe as Osborn. He's the best. Not the look, because that was always they should have went with Steve Johnson's look, which was awesome, and you can watch that footage. It's available, but man, they made him look like a Power Rangers villain. It was always mind boggling to me. Even back then, I was just like, what the fuck is this? But great portrayal as Osborn in that first Maguire movie. Um, oh, I had that. I always thought that Fantastic Four was going to be set in the '60s. As soon as Marvel's, finally got the rights back, um, I, I, I always thought that that's how it was going to go. So it's not like a shock or a surprise to me. It's very it makes sense. And then with all of the multiverse and the time travel stuff that's happening, it makes sense that there's a way for them to be able to have most of the movie be in the '60s and then like the last half be like, oh well, now they're here because of some of the craziness in the quantum realms and the multiverses and all of this stuff and all the crazy shit that's happening. Um, you know, which will become uh, more, I think, in shape and in tune with what they're trying to do after we all see Deadpool and see how um, they're going to straighten that out and how Deadpool's going to help correct a lot of the mistakes, which they know what they're doing. Uh, very clever, and I'm 100% here for it. Um, but yeah, so you know, give me give me Fantastic Four in the '60s. I'm all about it. Hello, Anthony. Greetings. It is late where you are, but you know I always appreciate you popping in. So thank you. Thanks for saying hello. Doing well, doing well. Miserable weather as per usual in upstate New York, but doing well. I'm glad you appreciate your Blu-rays that came in to you. I'm glad that they reached your supple frame. Yes, 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 yeah. Hmm, that's good for you, Roger. Enjoy. I have zero interest. Less than zero. I don't think they've made anything outside of Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man, and then, like I said, Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home really is MCU and it's not Sony, regardless of Sony putting it out. Luckily, they didn't have their hands all over that. Um, Competent people behind the animated movies, but like, fuck, those Venom films to me are rancid. They're so bad. Um, I couldn't even get through fucking Morbius. I got like 15 minutes in. And I was like, God damn, this is bad. Madam, the whole idea of them just doing this thing is, it's not for me. It's not for me. But I'm glad some people can enjoy it. But I'm also glad they're tanking. So, because maybe they'll fucking realize that they're morons over there at Sony and they should stop doing this dumb shit. But they probably won't. Anthony, crazy. It's interesting. Sometimes, like I said, ooh, shipping to the UK is a 50-50 for me. Sometimes it goes real smooth, and sometimes it's like, and not just the UK. If I'm shipping to Germany or Australia, places like that, that can go bad too. It's just, stuff won't show up. I'll get it returned. It'll be destroyed. Um, you know, and then of course it's, will the person pay for the shipping, because shipping has gotten so bad. So, but I'm glad that it's never been an issue getting to you, Anthony. Everything I've sent seems to be smooth sailing to you, crossing the genitalia. Zach, any plans to go back to Stonky Beach? Yeah, there's always, every year, every year since we made the first one in 2013. So 11 years, there's always plans to go back to Stonky Beach. Whether or not we will, you know, I think we will at some point. I think there'll be a proper part two. Um, but I've got other things that always take a little more priority than doing a Stonky Beach too, so that it pleases me and Alec and Clint. You know, no crossovers. No, it doesn't. Your heart does not break. You don't really care. It does, you know. Uh, you will never see Teen Ape ever again. That would be funny, Zach, if we could get Teen Ape doing maps, navigation maps, rub maps, whatever map, electronical voices, Siri, any of that stuff. But no, there will never, ever, ever be anything Teen Ape ever again. Unless it's like a comic book or, you know. Got my Dune tickets. Dune 2, baby. February 29th, going to IMAX. Whole bunch of us. Can't wait. See this next chapter. Dune. Then we got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I'm like salivating for. Then the week after that, we got Godzilla and Kong. Then in May, we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Whew! Hot fire. Zach, did I get the bucket? What bucket you talking about? Antinomian Praxis? Hello. Hi, Chris. I'm extremely shy. This is taking a lot out of me, but I just wanted to say hello. Hello. Well, thank you for talking to me anonymously through your computer screens. Don't be shy. It's just me. Roger, what's your favorite boutique movie company? I will answer that, but first I will answer Anthony's. Have I seen Godzilla minus one? I have indeed, and I love it. I love it. Now, I don't love it as much as other people do, and I will never say that it's my favorite Godzilla film. Um, I like how Godzilla fans now. I'm a Godzilla fan and have been since I was a kid, and I have plenty of Godzilla stuff in my home and in my life and in my collection. Um, Now, when I say Godzilla fans, I think there's a certain subsect that are now suddenly after minus one came out. Now there's this like snottiness and elitist attitude towards any other Godzilla thing, regardless of the fact that the majority of Godzilla that came from Toho beforehand were also goofy and silly and beyond bonkers. But now everyone's like, "Oh, Godzilla and Kong is like for mentally challenged people, and minus one is for intellectual people." Suck my fucking dick. Get off your fucking high horse. Pisses me off. Ugh. Godzilla is Godzilla. You're watching a movie about a giant fucking monster destroying shit. So suck my titties. Like, get over yourselves. It's all fun. I'll say this: I wouldn't watch Godzilla minus one if it didn't have Godzilla in it. It was just a fucking movie about like World War II or like shit like that. No, I wouldn't fucking watch it. That's not for me. You throw Godzilla in there, and then there's something to be talking about. You want to be starting something right there. So yes, I enjoyed Godzilla minus one, and I loved seeing it in theaters. But I'm way more pumped to see Godzilla and Kong. So anyway, Roger, what's my favorite boutique movie company? Uh, Definitely not Vinegar Syndrome. While I have some things from Vinegar Syndrome, I think they think their shit don't stink, and um, the loyalty to that company is mind-boggling to me because they scrape the bottom of the barrel sometimes to put out true garbage, and they know that their fans are just going to lap it up. So more money for them. But for me, 90% of the shit they put out is just pure garbage. So not Vinegar Syndrome. Um, Arrow, as soon as Arrow sort of popped on the scene with all their horror Blu-rays back in the day, like I've been a fan. I've really enjoyed their releases. There's a lot of Scream Factory that I like. Not so much anymore because they don't really. I mean, at this point, they are also just kind of putting out garbage that nobody wants and or re-releasing everything in 4K. Um, because let's face it, shit is just there's movies that are running out. They're just running out of movies. They're running out of licenses. They're running out of things that people will license. And that's I think true for a lot of the companies. But Arrow seems to be consistent for me. Um, yeah, you know, I think there's something that they all do that I can appreciate. You know, um, every now and again, there's going to be that little surprise that pops out from all of them, and it's just like, um, you appreciate that more than you appreciate the 90% garbage. I'm not a fan. I'm not really like a big Criterion Collection person because for me personally, the majority of the movies that they deem to be Criterion worthy is just shit that I would never watch, that I just have no interest in. But then they have gems, they have certain things that it's just like, oh, okay, you're treating some of this with respect, and I dig that. And so I'll get those releases. Um, they are putting out two films that I adore, and I first got them through import VHS back in the '90s, in like the early '90s, when these movies came out, and I imported them through either Blackest Heart Media or Catalog of Carnage. But um, Criteria is putting out the Heroic Trio and the Executioners, which is its sequel. Michelle Yeoh is in both. It's like Hong Kong superhero action wire work foo. It's so fun. Those movies, I love those movies. And I am so pumped for them to be coming out in 4K. So I pre-ordered that. That one is actually coming Tuesday. Um, so yeah. Let's see, what are we doing here? Have I ever seen The Dead Hate the Living? Yes, I have. Indeed, I have. Um, Dave Parker, uh, and it's actually like the last like real full moon movie that I consider to be halfway decent. Um, full moon is not full moon anymore, so I don't really. But I love the full moon of the past, and I always will. Um, but Dave Parker is actually a fan of some of my crap, some of my movies. Um. Oh, Roger. Second Sight. Yeah, they have a few releases. I still need to get their Flight of the Navigator, which I want. Of course, I have the 4K huge set of Dawn of the Dead, which is sublime. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, like I said, there's things, you know, through every little site. Even the German company Turbine. They put out that amazing Frighteners 4K, um, that was supervised by Peter Jackson, and you better believe I got that. Do I wish it was just in the movie in a normal case? Yes, because I don't care about all the bells and whistles and stupid boxes and bullshit like that. Slip covers and fucking steel steel books and shit like that. I just want the fucking movie with the extras. I don't care about all that shit. But yeah, Zach, it's got to be Umbrella. No, fuck that. I'm not gonna get Mario. Umbrella has this uncanny ability to just keep fucking. They just keep putting out Blu-ray 1080p versions of some of the movies that you already own from American companies, but with less special features. But they give you more bullshit like lobby cards and posters and dumb shit like that. Um, that stuff doesn't appeal to me. Uh, like they just put out that Masters of the Universe, but I have Masters of the Universe from the Warner Brothers Blu-ray. If they had put it out in 4K and they did an actual 4K restoration of the movie, and I saw side by side the 1080 and the 4K, I might have pulled the trigger for Masters of the Universe. But what do you do? We know you just love the slipcovers. No, I throw them away, stump, cut, rip them in half, throw them in the fucking garbage, light them on fire. Wastes of space, wastes of money. Uh, that's right, Blackest Heart Media. Blackest Heart and Catalog of Carnage were my go-to um, catalogs to get import VHS back in the early '90s. I'd also get T-shirts and masks from them growing up. Roger, I got that Frightener set. What a great set! Yeah, I mean they did a great restoration. All the bells and whistles that came with it, as far as like the paraphernalia, I don't care. But the other stuff, great. The stuff that actually should matter, they did phenomenal. Masters, I'll hook you up with a copy of Flight of the Navigator, mate. That would be amazing. If it's Second Sight, if it's that version, heck yeah, that would be amazing. Roger, yeah, I don't do it. I don't do the steel books. I don't do the slip covers. I just don't care. If I want art, then I'll get a poster. You know. Yeah, the Frighteners book was all in German. That's right. The Gooch, the Gooch. I better get Willis for backup now that the Gooch is back. He's got to protect me, Mr. Drummond. Oh man, Adelaide, you gotta help me. Pearl, Mrs. Garrett, the Gooch is back. Gotta get Mr. T. He'll be helping me. Praxis, Strangeland. Strangeland, I think is pretty damn good. Now I haven't seen it in a long time, and I haven't owned that DVD in a hell of a long time. I don't own it, but I did. Um, but I thought Strangeland was good. That's actually surprising that Vestron hasn't the new Lionsgate slash Vestron hasn't put a Blu-ray out of Strangeland. Um, I'd have to watch it again before I would pull the trigger to buy it again because I don't know if it would hold up. But when it first came out, I did like Strangeland a lot. Thank you, Anthony. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Okay, been a few months since it happened, but I ran into Andrew at a thrift store I was working at on the weekends. He was VHS hunting, of course, as he does. Told him it was a waste to look there because I buy them all. Yeah, the VHS thing, I don't. I don't get, but that's okay. Yeah, you know. Andrew, you graduate in June, and soon I'll be free to whatever. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but good for you, Andrew. Roger. For Strangeland? Maybe the music rights? I don't know, maybe. Or they just are like, "Pfft, who the fuck wants to see Strangeland? I don't know. Who knows? Um, I wonder if you can send like a message to D. Snyder, like if he has like a website or a place that you can send email or fan messages to, and he might have the answer to why Strangeland hasn't come out yet. and this is another thing. Like I just thought of Vestron because you know, they have Ghoulies 3. Uh, and I know there's the German release of the 3 Ghoulies movies on Blu-ray. I have 1 and 2. 1 sucks. 1 for me has always sucked. I love Ghoulies 2, but boy do I love Ghoulies 3. And I haven't pulled the trigger on the German Blu-ray yet because I keep having this feeling that as soon as I do something like that, Vestron's gonna come out with their, newly collector's edition Blu-ray of Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, and, it'll be for, like, 12 bucks, you know? So, yeah, I've always heard some great stories about D, Roger. My buddy Debbie Rashawn has always told me amazing stories about D and how he is as a human being. It's good to hear. Boy, Bobby, of course you saw Madam Web. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. No interest, 0, less than 0 interest. The Sony Spider-Verse live action films are pure, unadulterated garbage as far as I'm concerned. They all suck. It's all just complete morons behind the scenes making those films. But yes, I have faith that Ghoulies 3 will come out. I'm telling you, there's going to be some newly commissioned art, and it'll be on the cover of that Vestron presents collector's edition Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College. Um, and so I just can't pull the trigger yet on the German trilogy Blu-ray release. I'd rather spend 12 bucks on Ghoulies 3 with a decent transfer and some special features than 40 bucks on a trilogy where I just want the movie. I just want part 3. I don't want the other 2. I have them. And I don't even watch 1. Bobby, the anticipation grows. I'll be in you next week. We have such sights to show each other. I will never watch Madam Web, so it's okay. But I'll take your word for it. Squeeb it. Andrew, am I going to be a creature feature this year? We're all going to be a creature feature this year. Bobby, me, Sean King, a whole bunch of us. Why, you may ask? Because there's a 90% possibility that my new movie is going to be premiering there on the big screen at Creature Feature Weekend. So, Roger. Nope. No Cinema Wastelands. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with Cinema Wasteland. I have been going to Cinema Wasteland since they started. Uh, and we've been selling at Cinema Wasteland off and on since they started. And this last time My buddy Sean and I went, and I think I'm just done with it. I think it's literally the same show over and over and over and over again. They don't provide anything new, anything fresh. I certainly like seeing, old friends and um, getting to hang out with people that I normally don't see unless I go to that show. But overall, it's not, you know, there would have to be something really special for me to get pulled out again for a Cinema Wasteland. I just don't know. I just, you know, it wasn't for me this past time. Regardless of, and the show before that when we did it, we hadn't sold at a Wasteland in a while, but when we came back, we sold hard and it was awesome. It was a really good weekend for us. And it hadn't been that good since, like, 2001, 2002 at one of those shows. Um, well, that's not true. We've had some great shows throughout the 2000s, but at Cinema Wasteland. But eh, you know. Now I'm not saying that all conventions, because I still love going to conventions. I've been going to conventions since 1993, and I still love it. Um, but Wasteland is, I think it's just over for me. So, Android Moist already, and that and Screamwalkers. Hopefully, screened it. You think? I mean, have you guys talked to Craig about Screamwalkers? Um, and has Sean started working on it yet, as far as editing is concerned? Uh, I know JR is not gonna be at Creature Feature. He was going to be, but I guess Craig, didn't get back to JR in time, and so, uh, something else came up for JR to do, another screening in somewhere else, a part of the country, a different part of the country. Um, but he said that he might send James L. Edwards and somebody else up, if Craig is gonna show. Side effects may vary, so who knows? We'll see. But it would be cool to have that trifecta of Screamwalkers, side effects, and our new movie. But we'll see. Fozman X. Did I miss anything with the new movie, like a title or potential street date? Nope. Yes, he's working on it. I think he will get in touch with Craig. I've mentioned it to Craig, so we'll see. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess we'll see. Either way, anybody who's going to Creature Feature Weekend in April in Gettysburg, PA, myself, Bobby, Sean King, and I would I wouldn't be surprised the whole gaggle of us LBP Warlock folk will be there. We'll all have tables, and with any luck, it'll be the premiere of our new films. So, Fozman. So, I still cannot. Unfortunately, I can't say what the movie is that we shot. My new film. There is no street date. Um, the way J.R. Bookwalter did this, who is our producer, and in the past he produced 13 of my films, and he has a Blu-ray box set of those 13 films on makeflix.com that you can see. I've made 64 films, um, but so basically pre-production for his new movie. Now J.R. hadn't shot a new movie in 22 years. Um, so he was finally gearing up to make his new movie at the same time that he and I were prepping my new movie for him. Um, so while I was doing pre-production, he was getting ready to shoot his new movie. Uh, and now it's at a point where now his movie is, of course, the priority. So he's on that theatrical tour. He's going around the country for small theatrical showings of Side Effects May Vary, his new film, which is leaving my film sort of laying in wait at the moment. The movie was fully, I went down to edit the film in September. The movie's edited. It just, he is going to be working on the 5.1 sound mix and the color correction and all of that stuff. He has not even touched it yet because of everything he's doing with his film. Um, so it's just kind of sitting there. And what he wanted to do was he wanted, before physical media, like with Side Effects May Vary, he was also going to do a theatrical tour of my new film that we're waiting on. The only thing right now that is sort of like 90% going to happen is the movie will premiere at Creature Feature Weekend. And JR knows this. Um, and he has said that if we're going to reach any sort of date, that's the date we're going to reach as far as when things can start to be talked about, promotion, sort of a theatrical calendar can sort of be put together. Um, as far as physical media, I don't think the new film will have any sort of Blu-ray or streaming release until probably the end of summer, early fall. I would think. I think that's what he's going to do. Um, and he just doesn't want me to. I would have been talking about when we were shooting the movie. I would have been talking about what the movie is. But for some reason, I mean, he's the money man. He's the guy who owns this film. He doesn't want what the movie is out there yet, which is fine. So, um, I would love to tell everybody because really, once you all know what it is, you're going to be like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. It really isn't to me anyway. Um, so we'll see what happens. You know, um, Andrew. Besides Wellsville Nights and the new flick, is there anything else you have planned, or are those the only two things to look forward to? Well, I mean, that's a lot, man. Like, these are not the days of where I used to make 6 movies a year. Um, you know, so we got the new movie, we just shot that in July. If if we have a good crowdfunding for Wellsville Nights, then we'll probably, so there's we shot the pilot, as everybody knows, 2 years ago. We have that pilot, but there's 7 more episodes of the first season to make. We're hoping to raise money for the rest of the season. There's a good possibility that we won't be able to raise all of the money, and if that's the case, um, I think we're probably only going to be shooting episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think, and that can be optimistic. It might just be 2, 3, and 4. Again, it just depends on how much money we make from the crowd fund, and it's time. None all these people, they have day jobs. They have real jobs. None of them are like 100% true blue actors. Certainly not from Warlock and LBP. Um, but some of the newer people we have are actors. But taking 2 weeks off is quite a tremendous deal, and this is it might only be 10 days, so that would be 10 days to shoot 4 episodes of Wellsville Nights in the summer. Um, so for the rest of this year, yes, Wellsville Nights shooting episodes 2 through 5, hopefully, is going to happen this year, and then the release of the new movie. Next year, if we're lucky, we can shoot episodes 6, 7, and 8. But yes, I do have two movies that I I want to make. One of them is Radakill, which I've talked about forever, uh, and that I really do think we will shoot next year. I really do think. Um, and then the other one I'm not going to talk about yet, just because I don't know if we're 100% going to do it, and if it's if it's just a fun little throw out pipe dream for me that I want to do. But with any luck, 2025 we'll make Radakill, and we'll make episodes 6, 7, and 8 of Wellsville Nights of the first season. So that's what's happening, bros. Zach, I mean, there's really, you can sure go ahead, bug Jr. about it, but like, listen, Jr. has the time. He's just not doing it, and I get it. Like, there's only so much planning you can do in weeks and weeks. You have all this time to before you're going to the next theatrical thing that you're doing. Um, you know, he's not sitting there day after day after day doing nothing. I mean, clearly he's doing nothing, but it has nothing to do with my new movie, clearly, or he would have said, "Hey, I've started to work on it." He hasn't. But he's got a life. He's got two kids. He's married. He will do it when he does it. Um, and I've thought about like, hey, can we, maybe, seed out the film so that somebody else can do the sound mix and all that stuff. But Jr. is a master at fucking sound mix and post color work and grading. He just is. He's really good at it. I mean, he's a master at editing. So, um, you know, I know that he will make that sound. He'll shape that into a glorious mix. Um, so, we just got to wait to see what the fuck happens with that. Roger, what was the budget? What was the budget for what? The last movie? For the movie that we just did, it was 10 grand. But for what we need to make, so for Wellsville Nights, the pilot budget was 5 grand, and we want to shoot, this year at least 4 more episodes. So when that crowdfunding goes up next week, it's going to be set at about 23 grand, so that we can make at least 4 more episodes of Wellsville Nights. Um, and that's a lot. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is for us, but it isn't for normal stuff. But so in 10 days, we're going to be shooting 4 episodes of Wellsville Nights at the end of this summer, if the crowdfunding goes well, which is being launched next Wednesday. Oh, no, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after next, um, the 28th. So, Andrew, delicious. If you need help with any of those projects, I'm down to help out. Well, Andrew, if you want to come help Wellsville Nights, come on, let's do it. We're shooting. You know, shooting at the end of July, going into the first week of August. Roger, the JR movie. Yeah, that was 10 grand. Roger, it was 10 grand. The banger side effects may vary. Is playing Kansas City on the same night as the Sunny Day Real Estate concert. Not sure which I want to go to more. Yeah, it really sucks because originally the plan was for us to double feature Side Effects May Vary and and my new movie, and we were going to go together. But clearly that isn't happening. Um, so I don't know. It would be nice to be able to take my new movie to Screenland, but Andrew is always says he's gonna ask to see if we can get some screenings going up there, but he never does it. Meredith says that she could talk to somebody. She never does it. So who knows? Roger, I was able to film Xmas Slasher last month for around 5 grand. That's great. Yeah, normally, I mean, that 10 grand is a lot for us. Um, but I would say, I would say the last 10 years of making movies on our side of things, they've been between 1,000 to about 5,000 for all the flicks that we make. But we also, I mean, we shoot features in 2 to 3 days, uh, which is beyond insanity. And this last movie, I thought was going to be a luxury because I gave us 5 days to shoot it. Um, it was not a luxury. It was pretty. It was pretty nonstop. That's not including the post production. I'm doing the rough edit. By the way, you know how it is. Everything is hard. That's right. The nostalgia junkie. Hello, Mr. Sievage. What a surprise! I had no idea you were going live tonight. Of course you did. Roger. All these actors want paid to get anyone good. You're looking at minimum 100 per actor. Um, yeah, for your stuff for sure. Yeah, yeah. Oh, per day? Pfft, please. I don't work that way. But I also have the luxury of, these people that are my best friends. They've worked on these projects with me for over 20 years. That's a lot. 33 years doing this stuff and, you know, over 20, most of these people have been with me for that long. Um, but the new people have been great. The new people are awesome, and I can't wait for everyone to see them. They started in Wellsville Nights in the pilot, and then a bunch of them are in the new movie we just shot, and then of course coming back for Wellsville Nights. But four new, wonderful, talented human beings that are pretty amazing. Tom, do I have any of my old movies on VHS? I'd love to add one of yours to my VHS collections. No, I mean I have them for me. Like I have the raw footage. I don't have. I mean, some other companies have made VHS versions of like the Weirdsies or Terror at Bloodfart Lake, which I own, so I have those. Um, but I don't. Back in the day, back in the '90s, when Cemetery Cinema was putting my stuff out, it was all VHS. I would love to have that stuff back. Those movies back on VHS. But I bet it's out there in the ether. On eBay and shit like that. And I'm sure people have VHS copies of that stuff. And then when I started Warlock in 2001, after closing down LBP, we did a bunch of those Warlock movies that we did and put them out on VHS. But nothing recent for me personally that we've put out on VHS. We will be putting out the pilot of Wellsville Nights on a very limited um, VHS as one of the perks for the crowdfunding. Um, so, but none of the other stuff. Terror at Bloodfart Lake was my gateway drug to you. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm sure you saw the terrible, uh, shitty version that SRS Cinema threw up on Tubi or something like that. You know, SRS is the company that I made Terror at Bloodfart Lake for back in 2008, and we shot it on beautiful HD, uh, on a really kick-ass Panasonic camera, beautiful HD, um, widescreen, but for some reason, SRS released it initially on DVD in a pan and scan version, and then released it onto streaming sites in like a terribly like compressed, ugly, just ugly looking version. I am the only person who has a, other than the people who got it from me initially, but I'm the only person who has an HD widescreen DVD of Terror at Bloodfart Lake. Oh, Amazon Prime. So, well, again, he whatever SRS put out to streaming, that's what that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a pretty rough version of Terror at Bloodfart Lake. Um, all right, Jim. So you have the screener. So you have the widescreen version as it was meant to be seen. Geek War, Evil Knight, Sex Squatch, 1 and 2 combo, Malva 1 and 2 combo. The Weirdsies all have been recently available on VHS. Some from Makeflix, some from SRS Cinema. I forgot that Geek War. Well, Evil Knight, that was me. I put Evil Knight out, and it's not recent. We made that movie in 2014. It's 10 years old. Um, the Malva 1 and 2 combo was probably 5 years ago. Geek War, I forgot SRS did that, but again, it's not, you can't readily get them. The Weirdsies was a VHS for a bit. Um, yeah, I think he meant like my older stuff. Yeah, Evil Knight was probably somebody just they bought it and then they threw it up on eBay. We initially we put the Evil Knight, we put a VHS out that came with a Blu-ray. Maybe it was a DVD or something like that. I don't know. Been a long time. But yeah, the pilot episode of Wellsville Nights will have a limited VHS release just for the crowdfunding. It's not going to be like widely available unless we're at a convention and we're specifically promoting Wellsville Nights to help raise funds for the show, which is what our table is going to be at Creature Feature Weekend. We are not. I mean, I guess I'll have some other of the films, but for the most part, we're really just going to be promoting Wellsville Nights and trying to raise money for the rest of the season to make. So we'll be showing off clips of the pilot, and people can get a VHS version of it at the show. All that stuff. And there's some, as far as the new movie is concerned, there's somebody working on the poster for it uh, presently, and I won't even be able to post the poster. Like only the cast will be able to see it, but everybody else won't. such a I get it, whatever. JR's gotta do what he's doing, and it's, his movie takes priority, of course. Um, but as the filmmaker, you know, it's tough to wait on other people to, release this stuff. I'm glad that I've got Wellsville Nights to be working on, and I've been, pre-production is well underway for the next episodes of Wellsville Nights. Yeah, definitely need a VHS of Wellsville Nights. Be the first VHS I own with my name in the credits. Word, word up. We'll probably put a little bit of like a couple little behind the scenes looks on the VHS as well. There will be a Blu-ray that'll have more stuff, which will be that will have all the episodes that we make that we're able to make, and that'll be sort of an end of the year thing that donators will get. So it'll have like every episode that we make plus the special features and any Bonejack or Teen Ape stuff you fully scripted but never shot. Um, there were different iterations of Destruction Kings back in like 2003 and 4. Um, there was a couple different drafts of Destruction Kings uh, before we ended up with the one that we actually shot. They were much more elaborate, of course. Um, I would say there's a script before. Okay, so we shot Terror at Bloodfart Lake in 2008. So I think at the end of 2007, after we had done Teen Ape Goes to Camp and Wet Heat back to back, I think at the end of 2007 or early 2008 um, is when I wrote the Caspian script. Um, and the Caspian script ended up morphing into what became Terror at Bloodfart Lake. Um, and the Caspian script was really funny. The Caspian script was like Caspian was introduced in 2006 in the movie Film Crew that I did, and I love the character so much, and Josh plays him so hilariously, and so I wanted to do like a full movie with that character, and so Caspian was sort of like My World meets a haunted house meets the Saw franchise at the time. Um, and then somehow, and I remember Monique Dupree was going to be a part of that film. She was like the co-lead with Josh, and it was a nice hefty script, and it was very funny, and ultimately, that all fell through, and then we shot Ski Wolf, and then we did a whole bunch of that year we did Ski Wolf, we did Deathbone, we did I Spit You on Your Grave. Um, and then we did Terror at Bloodfart Lake, and Caspian became Terror at Bloodfart Lake, and I took things that I thought were funny from the Caspian script and threw them into what became Terror at Bloodfart Lake, that script. But straight out like Teen Ape and Bonejack movies that never really got made. No, I don't have any of that. Um, uh, have you seen Bloody Bible Camp with Reggie Bannister? I think I saw about 15 minutes of it and was like, okay, I'm done. It wasn't for me. It just didn't. I wasn't entertained. But I wasn't sure what to think about Blood Fart Lake until Caspian's line, "I poop from my dick tip." That line won me over and got me into your world. Interesting. That's quite a so you were, like, in agony until until that part, which is, like, halfway through the movie. That's rough. Well, I'm glad you jumped on board and you got the stupidity of it all. You understand the absurdity, and you just gotta go along for the ride. If you can get behind the dumb and the stupid and the silly, that's a stew, baby. Jump in a Siva vehicle. Um, so unfortunately, I don't have any more K2. I don't have any more copies of Saturday Morning Sleepover 1 through 5. But I do have 10 copies each of Saturday Morning Sleepover 6 and 7. Um, and you can get a hold of me at warlockhomevideo@gmail.com. They're 25 bucks each. They're both 8 hours, nonstop 80s and a little bit of early 90s. TV, cartoons, sitcoms, commercials, music videos, all that stuff. Everything that I put together for my at-home Saturday morning sleepover events. And you can get them through PayPal, thesievage@gmail.com through PayPal, friends and family only. And I try to ship fast. Um, and I always send a picture of the receipt so you know when it gets sent. Da, 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 I'm gonna eat dinner. All right, Andrew, you talk to me later. And seriously, talk to me later. If you do want to come out to help behind the scenes of Wellsville Nights, let me know. You know, we could use it. We need a dedicated sound guy. We need a dedicated clapper. We need some dedicated folk who can work on it. And then of course play a teenager. And you're young enough then you still I mean that's not part I mean part of the joke is that we're all in our 40s and we're playing 15-year-olds, of course. But it's okay if we throw some people who actually still look like they're 15, like you. Jim, Caspian and film crew is what got my wife to accept that there is some merit to your works. That's interesting. Well, thanks to your wife, I guess. You know. So she does appreciate my writing to some degree because those characters would not exist without those words. I watched Blood Fart randomly on Amazon Prime in 2020. Had to look it up on IMDb, and that's when I realized I had seen Taint Light years before. Ugh. Contacted you a few weeks later and bought all of you. Magic times, man, magic times, and what a good time too during the pandemic. You know, so much material for you to get through to rot your brain. This has been a good one. This has been a lively one. I appreciate the people who came by to talk and to ask questions and to geek it up with with me like that. Like I said, it can be 50-50. Sometimes these shows, these live impromptu shows can be a real stoinker. Sometimes they're really awesome, and I appreciate it. I was rewatching one of your flicks with the commentary, and you kept mentioning a road movie. What was that, or what did it turn into? It's tough to say. Um, I guess it depends on the movie and what was being described in the road movie. I can say this: there was a movie. There was a movie in 2011, or maybe it was. Oh, what was it? Was it 2011 or 2010? So, okay, so it may have been if it was the commentary on Filthy 4, depending on which commentary it was, because we shot Filthy 4 in 2010. So we did we did do so we did a movie that, well, we didn't finish it, but we did shoot some of it. This is interesting. I'm trying to remember the name of what we called it. Um, what are those movies that everyone thinks are so funny? I don't, but they all go to Vegas. It's like Bradley Cooper and low rent Jack Black. What's this? Vegas movies, and they all go and hijinks ensue. I don't know. What the fuck is this movie called? The Hangover. Okay, so those Hangover movies. Yeah. Um, I watched the first Hangover movie and did not laugh once. And I was like, why does everybody think this is the greatest fucking movie of all time? And they made three of them. So, anyway, I watched that movie and I was like, oh my God, like all I want to do is just make fun of this thing. And so I wrote a script called The Hangdown, and it starred Teen Ape, Razor McBleed from Anal Paprika 2 and 3, and Taint Light or whatever. Who else did it have in it? It had like Marge. It had like a random. It had Shawnee Ramone. It had fucking Enor from Ski Wolf. So it was called The Hangdown, and it was a long fucking script. It was a very elaborate script, and it took place in Atlantic City. And there were these fans. This is the reason it got made. There were these fans who swore up and down that they could get us locations in Atlantic City to shoot this movie, and that they would pay for everything, and that they would get us a couple of suites at one of the, casinos there, and just really like laid it on thick that these guys, and that they were big fans. And I knew that they were big fans. I did know that. But what they were promising was a little too good to be true. So I went about writing this movie called The Hangdown, and we did end up going to Atlantic City, and we did end up shooting a little of this flick, and it was abysmal. Uh, More than half of what these guys were promising did not come to fruition. We got there, and it was like it was kind of a nightmare, and these 2 dudes, I don't know. I don't know. It just was it soon was very apparent that there's no way we're gonna be able to make the rest of this film. There's no way we can even do half, again, more than half of what these guys said that they could provide us. And the way that I wrote the script, it was just like, how can we do any of this? Like we were told this was going to be this and here, and we could do this, and we could shoot here, and none of it was happening. And so it ended up being it ended up turning into like this like mockumentary thing of basically me saying, fuck this, fuck you guys. Now we're gonna turn this into like a documentary type thing of these characters going through this terrible bullshit from these people, from these fans, and them dealing with it throughout the weekend. And we couldn't even get through half of that because we were like, we spent all this time, this effort, um, to get here, to do this, to bring all these people together, and it just was falling apart. At the end of the day, um, we ended up just like, you know, going in the pool, going out on the boardwalk. We had fun being together and sort of not being around those 2 people and not having to do with anything of the movie again. Long story short, um, I guess to the person earlier, I guess that would be a Teen Ape movie that did not come to fruition, that was written. Um, oh man, and at that point, we had a fan had already, because like as far as I was concerned, the Teen Ape and Bone Jack shtick was done in 2007, and I didn't want anything else to do with them. And then in 2009, we made the terrible movie for Trauma, and that was going to be the big, every LBP character is going to have the swan song, and so Teen Ape was back in that. Again, it was terrible, fucking tanked. It was a shit show. Um, and then if we were going to do this hang down, they were going to provide, the budget and all this stuff, but as long as like Teen Ape was in it. But at that point, the mask was already sold to a fan. A fan really wanted the mask to put in like a shadow box, the original mask for Teen Ape, which we did. We sold it. And so we had to have a new mask made for this hangdown movie, and it was atrocious. It was so bad. We kept calling him AIDS Ape because it looked like the most sunken in like degenerate meth head teen ape mask that was made, and like we couldn't get another one made because it was so close to us leaving. And so Casey's wearing this like hideous teen ape AIDS ape mask. I don't know. The whole thing was just a nightmare. And the only thing that remains from that is a few pictures. Not even of anybody in character, but just us in Atlantic City having fun. All of the like movie related pictures and all of the footage I immediately erased. I was like, fuck this, fuck these fans, fuck all this. This is bullshit. I was just so pissed. Um, that was a long story, guys, but that is a that's interesting that this was not on the documentary that Zach made about me. Which any of you guys have not seen the documentary Zero Budget Heroes? The Legend of Perceiver and Low Budget Pictures. It is out on Amazon Prime and Tubi to be watched. Zach Oliveris made this documentary about us, and it's fantastic. So that's out there. But surprisingly, that story is not in the documentary, and I can't even remember if I did tell that story to Zach. And he shot me like for many many days, so I don't know. But that is the story of the hang down. If Bobby Heckman were still here, he would be able to elaborate a little more because he was there. He was playing Enor, and he knew the trials and tribulations of making that fucking stupid thing. So, an interesting chunk of weirdness from the tales and the history of low budget pictures. You know, I think that was definitely another like nail in the coffin. If it was around 2010, that's when I mean we really started shutting everything down. I mean, come 2011, LBP was done and Warlock Home Video was gearing up. So it was probably like just another nail for me to be like, fuck this shit. Like I can't do this anymore, you know. So, but the hang down, interesting story. But I'm glad there's nothing that even remotely shows that we did that atrocity. But I'll tell you what was fun though. It was fun to shoot to go out on the Atlantic City boardwalk with all those characters and to shoot some of the stuff we were shooting and to have I mean it was full. I mean it was, it was the summer. Yeah, then it was 2010. It was the summer of 2010. And to have all those people out there sort of like looking at us and wondering what the fuck we were doing and that was fun. That was interesting to see. Yeah, the hang down. Ugh, come on, Indy, what the fuck you doing? Causing mischief. You're gonna come over here. All right. But, yeah, sorry about the long story, guys. You guys might have passed out, walked away. But yeah, anything else you guys want to know? Jim, teen ape screaming trick in public sounds pretty funny. I mean, it was more than trick. I mean, you know, not a lot of filter when we were going out back in the day, shooting this stuff. You know, certainly not at conventions when we were yelling from the table and we had Teen Ape running around the conventions doing his shtick, which wasn't always Casey. The original Teen Ape, well, the original Teen Ape for a short film I did in 1991 or 92. So I think it was 92. It was called I Was a Teenage Ape, and I think some of that footage is on some of the LBP Classics Blu-rays. And that was my buddy Kyle. But then the Teen Ape that everybody sort of knows was in Anal Paprika 2, and that was at the end of '99, going into 2000. And Teen Ape was played by our buddy Russ. Um, and then for Anal Paprika 3, he was played by our buddy Zafir, and then also played by our buddy Tommy. Um, and then in Bone Appa Die, which later became Filthy McNasty, Teen Ape was played by me. Um, Casey didn't start playing Teen Ape until Scrotal Vengeance. in 2001. Um, and then even through there was a couple of times where Casey didn't play Teen Ape. It was this guy Matt. He played Teen Ape, and for a lot of the conventions, it was Matt who would play Teen Ape as well. But I mean, in the movies, it was Matt, but mostly Casey from 2001, and then a few bits and pieces in there. Some Matt would do it. Oh, our buddy Dave, who plays the Max in Filthy McNasty 1 and 2, and who is in Wellsville Nights. Dave played Teen Ape as well. So yeah, but it really became Casey's role. Um, yes, Matt, yeah, was the Filthy 3. Thanks for sharing that. Sounds like it would have been great. Great, just like the lost footage of Blood Trim 2. I'd kill to have been able to see that in its entirety. You're telling me. There is the remaining Blood Trim 2 footage is edited together, and it's on um one of the LBP Classics Blu-rays. I think I put up the raw footage of that on the YouTube channel, on this YouTube channel, but I think I think Zach edited what footage we had of Blood Trim 2 and put that on one of the discs, one of the recent Blu-rays, which is fun. But yeah, Blood Trim 2 was so funny. Was so funny. And some of the stuff in that movie is real gross. But and Jason's back as Desmond, St. Croix. But man, there was some good shit in that. Yeah. Then Bone Appa Die, the Bone Appa Die footage, I believe JR edited and put that on the Filthy McNasty Blu-rays that are on the quadrilogy Blu-ray set for Filthy McNasty 1 through 4, and then also the box set. Bone Appa Die became Filthy McNasty. Um, so we shot a whole movie basically called Bone Appa Die, and then I hated it, didn't like it, took elements from it, and then turned it into Filthy McNasty, which we shot, which we actually made, as you know. Well, some insecure, whiny ass, baby ass turd hat didn't steal the master of Blood Trim 2. It would have been legend. Everybody would have seen it, and it probably would have been out on a LVP Classics Blu-ray in its entirety. So, see me. I gotta get something to drink. You guys got some questions? Want to run through some shit? You want to talk to me about some stuff? Here's some fun stuff. Let me pull these out of here. This is So this is all stuff that Meredith, host, who is one of my best friends and has been with us since 2002. She has kept almost every script of hers with the production schedules and her writings on the scripts and, things that we've changed and everything. She's also kept some of the props from the movies, and she brought this stuff for me to for donators for the Wellsville Knights crowdfunding. People who donate a certain amount might want some of this stuff, but this is cool. This is stuff I haven't seen in a long time. But so right here, she brought her the original ears that were made for her um, and applied in Deathbone for her character Hetheriel. But those are the pointy elf ears, and the pack. Well, not the pack, but the trading cards that were made when Malva 2 Kiltenape came out. Um, and these were made by a fan for the promotion of Malva 2 when when that movie was coming out. So, and I think that's pretty neat. Again, I haven't seen this stuff in so long. Um, Maestro. So that will also be out for donation for a fan. This is cool, and again, haven't seen these in forever. But if people know the early years of LBP, we had a character named Baghead, and I would just draw faces on a bag, and we'd have somebody be Baghead. But she has two of the original Bagheads, and he'd have different. So one scene he would be happy, and this would be placed over one of the actors' heads. And then if he was angry, if you saw him again and there was anger, he would be angry Baghead. Um, but yeah, these are two of the original Bagheads that she kept, which is cool. Um, what's this script? This is what the fuck is this script? This is a production. This is for. This is Meredith's script for Filthy 4. I mean, Filthy 3 in 2004. It's her script with the production notes and shooting schedule. This one is for Moist Fury from 2010. These are her notes and schedule wise, the script. Moist Fury. Ooh, this one was for the stinker that we made for SRS. Alien Rednecks. This was a movie. So Ron Bonk at SRS Cinema kept wanting us to make these like redneck movies, these redneck horror movies. He just thought that like they were gonna do gangbusters. I couldn't fucking stand it. And in order for me to make certain movies for him, I had to do these other movies, and I did a couple of these really shitty shit fests. Alien Rednecks is one of them. We didn't actually even finish the movie, but he somehow finished it and released it like a few years after we had even gave him the footage. Anyway, that's a fart fest. The shooting script hit her shooting script for what is this for? Geek War, with all the notes that she made. Uh, Um, her shooting script for Film Crew from 2006. Her shooting script from okay, so this is Filthy McNasty 4, and the original title was Beyond McNasty. So this was actually we shot this one in February of 2010. So this was when it was called Beyond McNasty. Um, let's see. What is this one for? This one is for. Oh, this is Deathbone. Shooting schedule and script for Deathbone. Yeah. The her shooting script for look at that. 2006, baby. Oof. Okay. So her shooting script for uh, plus the shooting schedule. The movie we made for Trauma. Um, so this was wow. Okay, so this was the script for. So this is Sunday, October 19th. This is when I sent this to her. 2003. The original title was called Blood Pouch, which is Bloody Giblets. I must have just put it all in her right where you write everything. That's so funny. Um, this is oh, this is okay. So this is shooting schedule and her script for Terror at Bloodfart Lake 2, which is known as Return to Bloodfart Lake. Her shooting script for Paranormal Investigation Agency. I know you guys are like loving this, right? Her shooting script for Death on Lantern 2, which we shot in 2013. This is think. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, this is. Yep, this is the. Ooh, look at this. I sent this to her February 14th of 2004. This is the Heather and Pugly Drop a Deuce script. It's crazy that she kept all these. Um, ooh, this is the shooting script, her shooting script and schedule for Wet Heat. For Wet Heat. And we shot this in September of 2007. Yep, September 2007. This is her shooting script for Malva 2, Kill Teen Ape. Oh, her script for 2005, Heather and Pugly Crucify the Devil. Okay, so this this is the original this is the original script for what was later titled Ghoulish Chronicles from Bonejack High, um, which we shot in February of 2005. So this was her script playing Jill. And this was the original title of that movie, Meaty Labia. Um, and I only changed the title because at the time we were going to be able to put this movie in one of the video stores that was local to us, um, and Meaty Labia wouldn't swing. Oh, her script for 2007's Teen Ape Goes to Camp. Almost done, guys. What is this for? Shooting sketch. Oh, okay. For 2014's Evil Night with the shooting schedule. This one is. Oh, this one is House on Bonejack Hill, 2006. Um, Also, February of 2006. House on Bonejack Hill. Her shooting script for Phantom of the Grindhouse. We shot in 2013. Also in February of 2013. Um, let's see. I sent this on September 19th, 2011. What is this? Oh, sweet. This is the original script for her for Death O Lantern. And my alter ego under Warlock Home Video is Rudy Belafonte, one of my favorite Warlock films to work on. Oop, bleh. Wellsville Nights. Oh shit. Oh, This is another Wellsville Nights. This is the same thing. Yeah, why does she have two Wellsville Nights? Oh, this might be somebody. This might be somebody else's. I don't know. So this was the. So this is 2009, and this was the Taint Light. This was the Twilight parody that we did. This is Taint Light. This is her script for that. Ugh. Um, are these is this two scripts? What is this? Seems like a fucking chunky ass. Oh, this is the Weirdsies. Yeah, this is the Weirdsies. July 2015. Props, shooting schedule. And the Weirdsies. Her character, Chris. And that's what she brought. Very fun. Maybe there'll be somebody who wants some of that shit for donations for Wellsville Nights. Who knows? She thought it would be interesting, so she brought it from her stash, along with those trading cards and the elf ears. Who knows? We'll see. The titles of your movies is what got me in trouble with the wife in the first place. When her mom came to visit, she refused to believe Anal Paprika's Gretel Vengeance and others were not gay porn. 12 inches of dangling fury. Yeah, man. You have a tier structure worked out. Yeah, we do. So here's what's going on. Like, you've probably heard me say this before, but if you haven't, I'm saying it now, and it'll be part of the crowd. It'll be part of the launch as well. But for the most part, I don't like perks. When somebody sets up a crowd fund, um, the perks thing is probably my least favorite thing about it. Uh, and that's why we're doing GoFundMe and we're not doing like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, where we don't have to have designated perks. Plus, GoFundMe is a little less; they take out a little less than the other two platforms. And GoFundMe, we can just keep going as long as we want, um, to raise as much as we can for those episodes. But so there will not be your run of the mill perks. There won't be like, hey, get that, put this much money in, and you'll get a T-shirt, you'll get a poster, you'll get a sticker, you'll get a pin, you'll get a button, you'll get a patch. That's all bullshit to me. It's all like it's extra money that you need to raise for garbage. It has nothing to do with the actual thing that you want to make. You're donating so that we can make the entertainment, so that we can make the show. Um, and in the end, you're going to see that show. It has nothing to do with these silly ass ancillary knickknacks that mean nothing. So there will be a normal, hey, you can donate and you don't have to, you can just do it out of the kindness and deepness of your emotion and your heart to want us to get the show made. Um, and we will have some perks there if you do want it, but they're mostly going to be perks that we don't have to physically raise extra money just to make to send out to people. So there'll be, your traditional like, oh, I also don't do like you'll get a credit on IMDb because I have never thought IMDb was a big deal ever. I think it's just another fucking website, and for the most part, it's wrong. Like everything that's up on IMDb that is pertaining to me, I have zero idea how that stuff got up there. I would assume that it's either fans who put that stuff up there, or maybe it's like the studio heads who put my movies out, maybe they do it, but IMDb to me is a wasteland of garbage. So I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, you put $10 in and you'll get an IMDb credit." Like, it don't mean shit. So it ain't gonna be anything like that. But like if you want your name said in the show, if you want your name to be a character that is sort of played out through the show, we'll do perks like that. If you want like a shout out or like a quote unquote cameo from one of the characters that a video can be sent directly to you, that type of thing. Um, there'll be a what is it? Um, oh, you can send it. You know, you donate to that certain number or whatever it is, and you can send in a picture of yourself, and that we will put in the Wellsville Knights yearbook that is seen in the show. So it'll be a part of the class of, you know, 1988 or whatever it was for Wellsville Knights. Eh, You know, you'll be a Wellsville High student, things like that. Um, of course, there's the producer credit and things like that. It just depends on how much money you put in. If it really is like a chunk that really helps us out tremendously, then yeah, you'll get like a producer credit. But everyone knows that that shit, producer, whatever, you helped us make the show, and you put that amount of money in there. The least we can do is put your name in it, or do the shout outs and things like that. The only physical things that I think are going to be made are the limited VHS tier of the pilot, and then the overall first chunk of the first season on Blu-ray with the extras and stuff like that, and that'll be um, obviously after we make the how many episodes we get to make. So there'll be that, but everything else is going to be like stuff that we don't have to physically make. Um, the VHS, like I said, the VHS and the Blu-ray, they're going to be made anyway. So those are going to be the only real like mail out type perks. Everything else is just going to be stuff that you can like get an email, or you can see it in the show, get a shout out, get a video sent to you, maybe get like a production diary or something like that. If you don't want a VHS, then you can get a link to like we did for the pilot episode. We sent the link out, like a private link for people to see the pilot episode. Um, so there'll be things like that. Yeah, someone has buffed your IMDb major over recent years. Yeah, yeah, I saw that. Like I'm like, who is doing this? Uh, they added like episodes of crap from the 80s and shit like that. And then for a while, some of it wasn't even right. There's a lot of like things that aren't right on these pages, and things that I'm not even in, things that I'm not a part of. Uh, you can find my name out there. It's just very bizarre. So I don't trust any of that bullshit at all. Your approach is sensible. I like it. I am saving up to move to a new place soon, but I still hope to go as big as I can for Wellsville. Thank you. It's always appreciated, and we're gonna keep it going for as long as we can. We're gonna keep that site up there, so whatever we can make, that'll sort of indicate how many episodes we're gonna be able to do going forward. Right now, the hope is that we'll at least be able to do 4 upcoming episodes. So episodes 2 through 5. Um, and what's great is that, like, I think episode 1 is the tamest. It's still absurd, but it's the tamest of the absurdity of the episodes. As the episodes progress, it just gets goofier and goofier, um, while still maintaining that, Degrassi Junior High slash 15 slash Swans Crossing slash 90210 vibe. They do get a little progressively sillier, bloodier. because of the supernatural stuff that's happening. Hope are. How much are the scripts going to go for? Really want the weirdsies. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to talk to Meredith to see what she was thinking as far as get a script. And it's got her scribblings all over it, but I'm sure that like once they're here, once we have the cast back here for when we're doing more Wellsville Nights, we can have you know Meredith would gladly sign all this stuff for people if they wanted it signed too. Um, if we're sending that stuff out to a particular person, but I don't know. The perks are still being finalized. Obviously, they'll be ready to go once we launch on the 28th of this month. Actually shooting some stuff with a couple of the actors for some funny little bits for the crowdfunding. Funny little videos that we can put up progressively as the crowdfunding goes on. I'm shooting that down in Long Island next week with Bobby and some more friends. Uh, so yeah, yeah. I wish I still had the Caspian script because just I would just love to read it. I've had unfortunately a lot of my personal scripts. Um, I don't have anymore. Due to just moving, hard drives petering out, discs being lost, shit like that. I think I still have my original Anal Paprika script, the original Malva Zombie Ass Kicker script. I think I still have. I know I have Karaoke Kid somewhere. I do have a Weirdsies because that's special to me. Obviously, I have the Wellsville Night stuff. I have the movie we just shot this past summer, of course. But most of those scripts are just gone. Um, but I would be curious to read the Caspian one again, just to see what the fuck I wrote. I do know it was crazy and it was thick. It was a big one. Um, but I think I took some of the best gags from that and just put them into the Terror of Bloodfart Lake script. So I don't know, but it would be cool. It would be funny. I probably display my Meredith host made tea towel. Ah, yes, yes, she is a creative juggernaut with her all of her designs and all that good stuff. Yeah, she's great. Let's see something. Um, I'll say that for you old school fans who didn't contribute to the pilot of Wellsville Nights, which we shot in 2022, and who have not seen some of the new folks, um, you're in for a treat because they're wonderful and they fit in so well with the group. Um, and I'm excited for you to see what they do in the new movie that we shot. Really good. Really, I mean, they're tremendous. Um, and it was nice to bring Dave back. You know, Dave Ottavino, who's in Filthy McNasty 1 and 2. Um, it was so funny. What a weird thing to, we lost contact. Oh, he was also in Bone Apple Die. But lost contact and when we were doing pre-production for Wellsville Nights for the pilot in 2022, Casey was like, "Hey, why don't you talk to Dave again?" And I'm like, "Dave?" It's like Dave Ottavino. I'm like, "What?" I was like, "You still talk to Dave?" And at this point, it had been 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, like Dave's in Rochester." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, Dave's been here this whole time and you haven't like said anything about this? Like, we've made so many goddamn movies that Dave could have been a part of. So it was nice to connect with Dave again, and it was like no time had passed, and he, I mean, Dave came back with a vengeance. He just jumped right in Wellsville Nights, and he's such a good character. He plays Nick DeChamp. He's so good, and the stuff we have coming up for him in these episodes, he's gonna kill it, kill it. He also is the our sound guy for the movie we just did. So he was on set every single day. He was our sound guy. He has a small little cameo in it, but he wanted to do sound. He was really, really all about sound. He kind of had an interest in it anyway, so he had all the like equipment and everything. Um, but yeah, it was Dave back in the fold is really cool. But we've got like this guy Evan who plays Kyle Kilpatrick in Wellsville Nights. He's phenomenal. Katie Keating, who's in Wellsville Nights, also in the new movie. Just a bolt of energy and excitement and love and enthusiasm. Um, and then we've got Deanna. Deanna is like my new muse. Deanna, she plays Jennifer in Wellsville Nights. Um, and she plays the lead of my new film that we just did, and she is phenomenal. She's phenomenal, and I cannot wait for people to see her. Um, I love working with them. Um, it- I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm so thrilled. It's fun to like, I've said this before, but after the Weirdsies, um, I shot the Weirdsies in 2015, and that was a really like special movie for me. It was one of those movies that it was so from script to screen, it was so me. It was, very little changed. It was almost exactly how I wanted it to be. There's a couple things in it that I still don't like to this day, but for the most part, um, I was happy with it. The gang were happy with it, and we all agree that it's the best thing that we had done as a collective. And to make that movie and then to have sort of like it was in limbo. Like nobody was taking it. It was getting the best reviews out of anything I had ever done. Years and years and years of making movies, and like the Weirdsies was like the best reviewed thing that we had done, and like nobody was seeing it, and none of the companies wanted it, and it was kind of a bummer. It was just yeah, it was a bummer. And that kinda put me out of it, and then in 2016, we made Death of Lantern the remake, which was a huge mistake. Um, there's some things I like in that movie. Sean King did a tremendous job. Sean and Clint, they were the cinematographers on it. Um, that is definitely up until this new movie, but Death of Land the remake is was definitely the best looking movie that we had ever made. Um, it looks great, but it's not the best. Um, and then I didn't make anything. So 2016, I was just kind of like I was so put off by Death of Land the remake and the making of that movie, and I was real bummed, And then I just started It from the '80s right after, and focused all my attention on that, and would do little things here from time to time. But from 2016 to 2019, I didn't do anything. And then in 2019, we did the short A Stoinkmare on Halloween Street, which was just a short. But that's when Zach came into the picture, and Zach accosted me to make that documentary. Um, and then, 3 years he spent making that documentary. Nothing was made. Like, so we didn't do anything. So to come back after so long of not really being creative in the LBP/Warlock home video thing, and to do Wellsville Nights in 2022, and then to do what we did in 2023, and to have such a tremendous time both times with the greatest people, my dearest friends. Um, just to come back after so long and sort of knocking it out of the park with these people two in a row, it really fired up my creativity and my energy and my motivation, and got me back on this kick. Um, and certainly J.R. Bookwalter helped coming out of the woodwork again after so long. You know, the wheels started turning after he came to me about the Blu-ray box set and doing the restorations and all of that, and then buying the Weirdsies, and me knowing that finally people were going to be able to see it and all of this stuff. It just was like a roller coaster of stuff that was happening that was positive, and really lighting that fire under me again. And so I'm at a point where I am just like raring to go. I cannot wait to get back to Wellsville Nights and with these people, and to, you know, to shoot and be creative and laugh. And like, and we've got Wellsville Nights this year, the remaining episodes next year, plus Radikill for next year, and then possibly this other thing that I hope we can do in addition. But the three remaining episodes and Radikill would be enough just to have this you know momentum is fantastic again, and it's great, and I feel good. I'm going to be 47 in a few months, but my body, it may feel like I'm 87, but my mind is still gets excited and it's giddy, and I still am like a child, and yeah, having that wonder and awe, and I'm pumped for that stuff. I'm pumped, and I always get excited when I know I'm going to be working with all these people, you know, and they're going to be bringing my words to life in the ways that they do it, and some of the ways that we shape those performances. It's just great. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm pumped. To date, in my humble opinion, Weird is your best work. Thank you, Fozman. After all of that gobbledygook that I was saying, I 100% agree as well. Weirdsies is our best work. Sometimes you have to walk away from it for a while to fully realize how much you miss it, and to let the creative juices build. Yeah. Also, the documentary helped. Like, uh, finally giving in and agreeing to Zach's request to do that doc, I knew sort of ultimately that it was in good hands, and then once he showed it to us, because he did a when we celebrated the 30 years of LBP in whatever it was 2021, he showed us a first draft, which is a longer version of the documentary, and I think people he sold that as part of like a double 2 disc set for a while. Um, it was called like the LBP reunion cut or like the 30th anniversary cut or something like that. That was the first time he got us all. Well, we did a big thing, and he flew out and he showed us that cut, um, and you know it was I was so happy that I said yes because he really did something special, and ultimately it was it's a time capsule of my life, and to see how blessed I am with everything that we were able to do and my friends and to do what I've done and to come out of where I came from, the small shitty know nothing town, and since I was 7 years old said I want to make movies, and then I did. It doesn't matter budget wise, it doesn't matter on a Hollywood scale or anything like that. It was just nice to finally sit back and stop being a curmudgeon about it all, and see, like, okay, yeah, I did it. This was successful in that way. Like, I have all these amazing friends. We have all these memories. We've got 64 movies. Um, Something came out of it, uh, and so that doc also was really like a wow. Like, why stop? Let's keep going. you know. Um, so that was nice too. So it's been a good, 4 years or so of creative momentum and imagination again. So, and to get with and to shoot the movie that we just shot in July and have Debbie Rashawn back, um, was great too because she hadn't done anything with us since 2009, and I hadn't seen her in person since 2012. Um, and she's part of the gang. I mean, she has always been part of the gang. Debbie is like one of the gang. She's family. And it was like nothing. It was like no time. She just jumped right back in, and our dynamic was all there. And she kills it. She's so good in this movie. She's so good, and it's not a cameo. She has a full fledged lead character, um, and it's funny. It's she has a blast when she's with us. She just laughs and goofs, and she knows she doesn't have to take it seriously, and she doesn't have to bring those drama chops. She's got to bring the stupid chops. She's got to bring the morality, and she does tenfold. It's so good. Um, so yeah, it was good times. I can't wait for everybody to see it. I like it. As I said, the movie is edited. I have an edited version of the movie on my computer right now. It just doesn't, the sound is there's no the sound is all over the place. There's no real sound mix to it yet. It is not color graded. It's all like the raw from the red camera. It's all the raw stuff. Um, there's a couple visual effects that they need to do that is not in there, but the edited main picture has been done since September, and I do like it. And and everybody does great in it. Everybody. Eh, eh, it's so stupid. The movie is so dumb, um, but you know it's supposed to be. Uh, and it's funny. Some great stuff. Great set pieces. So, you know, one of these days we'll be able to, I even said, I was like, can we at least, like, I remember, like, when Christmas was coming around, I was like, can we at least do a trailer, like a teaser trailer, and like have it as like a Christmas present for everybody and put it out there? And JR was like, no, no, too early, not ready. I'm not gonna announce it yet. I was like, okay, all right, there you go. What do you do? What do you do? Well, guys, I'm gonna leave in like 10 minutes. But this has been good. If you guys have any more questions, if you have anything else you want to talk about, you got the 10 minutes to go, and we'll do it. And I appreciate it. I appreciate the people who did come out to talk. It was nice. It was good. I like these. You I'm gonna put in the chat here for anybody who doesn't know. If you want to find me on the Instagrams, I'm at Warlock Home Video and Wellsville Nights. And then Facebook is Christopher J. Seaver or Warlock Home Video Network. Indeed. I like telling the stories. Um, I haven't told that hangdown story in for fucking forever. I almost forgot about it. But when you brought up somebody brought up the road movie, it's like, oh shit, is that that? There was still another like road movie idea that we had that was more in the uh that's more in the Warlock days. And it has like Skippy and um Lance and Lucas and Shawnee Ramone. Um, I think I still wanted to do that. I always had this idea to do a movie called Tits the Motion Picture. And it was like the gay those that group of characters setting out to find the biggest natural breasts they could just so that they could like, get laid by that person or whatever like that. It was called Tits the Motion Picture. And that would have been that road movie. Oh, that's funny. It might still happen. Who knows? Oh, I had that good chat. I was in and out while you played, but enjoyed it very much, buddy. Let's do a video combo sometime soon. Hey, man, all you got to do is come to me. Like I tell you all the time, I'm like, whenever you want to do it, let's do it. We'll do some more shit. Just hit me up. Let's go. You know. Thank you for hanging with us and sharing cool stories. Sure thing, Jim. I thank you for coming by and sticking around and talking, asking those questions. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks, Fozman. Thank you very much. But yeah, okay, guys. I mean, unless you guys have anything else, um, maybe I'll just call it a night. Hey, what do you think? I don't know. So there you go. Find me in the links. Saturday morning sleepovers. Crowdfunding is launching next week. I mean, 2 weeks, February 28th. Got some new videos up on Crep from the 80s. Just shot a new video today for Crept. So that'll go up this weekend. And until then, guys, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Try to give a little more notice next time, but I like doing these live shows and spread the word. And we'll see you guys later. Have a deliciously erotic evening, folk. Goodbye.